Hi guys. Yes, I'm stroking the beard habits. Okay. So I wanted to come on really today and give you some free advice. And it's really carrying on from my comments from yesterday. And it's regarding really one of the most common complaints most owners have, and that is their dogs pulling them on the lead. Okay. So, what I want to do really is just to try and explain this through some observations that I make time and time again every time I take my dogs to the park, or even possibly when I'm just driving a park, by a park, my local park, or any park. I think this problem is possibly going on nationwide, hundreds of times a day. So let me get to the observation for you. So what I quite often see when we're over the park is owners approaching the park with their dog on the lead. Normally it's a flexi lead, but only, a few feet out. And what they're constantly doing as they approach the park is they're trying to control the dog, correct the dog, wrangle with the dog, trying to get the dog to walk nicely on the approach to the park. Only then to, once they enter the park, allow that flexi lead out, or, give the dog more lead if they're on a shorter lead, and let the dog then proceed to sniff and pull them all around the park for the whole time that they're in the park. They never practice their loose lead walking. Okay, all they literally do is let their dog engage with anything that the dog wants to engage with, normally while they're playing about on their phone. And of course, this goes on, these habits persist for the whole time that that owner and their dog are in the park. Now, that could be 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, it doesn't matter, an hour. What happens is then I'm laughing because this is so crazy to me. Is when they leave, they shorten that flexi lead up and then they try and walk back home, okay, using exactly the same piece of equipment. Now, this to me, and of course, they're back to their control and their wrangling, and the dog might be walking slightly better because it's burnt off some energy, maybe. But generally speaking, they're back to their control and wrangling and all sorts of trying to get their dog to walk. Now, guys, this is madness. Let me just tell you, this is absolute madness. Okay? And I'm going to let you into a little secret. Your dog has made an association between the way it is allowed to behave while wearing that lead, harness, collar, whether it's a 5 foot lead, a 6 foot lead, or a flexi lead, whatever it's been walked on, it's made an association with the way it can behave while wearing that piece of equipment for you. Okay? Just think about that for a second. Now, what happens is when you now try and leave the park and walk the dog on exactly the same piece of equipment, you are now leaving your dog utterly confused. Utterly confused. And I would go as far to say you're actually, leaving your dog feeling conflicted about how it's supposed to behave and even your relationship. Okay? So here's the free advice: stop. Just stop. Don't keep doing it. Okay? You're better off, if you can, if your dog doesn't walk nicely to heel and you've got to exercise it, pull it in the car, drive it to the park. But just stop. Okay? My advice really would be to condition the dog to a separate piece of new equipment that is never allowed to pull you on. And then if your dog isn't, if you're not comfortable with your dog being off lead and you want to put it on lead, then change equipment once you get to the park. Okay? And then change equipment again once you leave. But please don't keep on with this habit that you've got, which is walking your dog to the park, wrangling it, then letting it pull you for the next hour, and then wrangling it on the way home again. Until you change your habits, you will not change the behaviour in your dog in those circumstances. Okay? Now, this is a little bit of a lecture because I'm trying to give you some free advice. This is free advice that I can give that I know there's possibly no negative consequence on, and it's probably appropriate for most dog owners, where a lot of advice isn't, which is why I can't give it. But in this case, please, just stop, change your habits, just think about what I'm saying or what I'm saying, okay? And see how you go. All right. Cheers now. Bye bye.